Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into Kuruluş Osman, a series that has consistently captivated us with its epic narrative and, more importantly, the profound evolution of its characters. As we eagerly anticipate episode 192, it's the perfect time to speculate on the significant character transformations we might be about to witness. This isn't just about predicting plot points. It's about understanding the internal journeys of the figures we've grown to know and respect, or in some cases, revile. So, how might the impending events of episode 192 sculpt and reshape our beloved heroes and their determined adversaries? Osman Bay has always been the bedrock of his tribe and the burgeoning state. His transformations have often been marked by increased wisdom, resilience in the face of loss, and an ever-deepening faith. But what could episode 192 throw at him that forces a new kind of evolution? Perhaps this new threat? Let's imagine a cunning Byzantine commander, maybe someone who employs psychological warfare rather than just brute force or targets Osman Bay's spirit or tries to turn his own people against him. Could we see Osman forced to make a decision so morally gray that it visibly weighs on him, altering his usually decisive demeanor? Maybe he'll have to sacrifice a deeply held principle for the greater good of his future state. Will this potential crisis lead him to further trust his sons and delegate in ways he hasn't before, marking a new phase in his leadership? Or will it force him into a more solitary, hardened stance? Think about it, how many times have we seen Osman Bay adapt and overcome? But what if the challenge isn't an external enemy, but an internal erosion of trust or a crisis of faith born from relentless pressure? Could episode 192 be the one where we see a flicker of doubt, not in his mission, but in the methods he must employ? What are your thoughts on how Osman Bay might be tested differently this time? Share your theories in the comments below. Orhan Bay's journey has been one of coming into his own, often marked by a desire to prove himself and sometimes by impulsive actions mirroring his father's early fire. If the end of episode 191 saw him, for example, leading a critical mission that either went brilliantly right or disastrously wrong, episode 192 will be all about the fallout and his reaction to it. If he succeeded, will we see a more confident, perhaps even slightly arrogant Orhan, ready to take on even greater responsibilities? This could be a positive transformation, but it could also set him up for a future fall if overconfidence blinds him. Conversely, if his mission faced a setback, how will he cope? Will this lead to a period of introspection and a more measured, strategic approach? Or could it fuel a reckless desire for redemption that puts him and others in further danger? The dynamic between him and Aladdin is always a focal point. Could Orhan's potential transformation in episode 192 either bridge the gap between the brothers or widen it? Perhaps he'll need to lean on Aladdin's counsel, or maybe his actions will force Aladdin into a difficult position. This is a pivotal moment for Orhan. Will he rise to the occasion and mature into the leader we expect? Or will the pressures reveal underlying weaknesses he still needs to overcome? Aladdin Bay, the scholar warrior's defining test? Aladdin is often portrayed as the more thoughtful, strategic mind, a counterpoint to Orhan's warrior spirit. His transformations tend to be more internal, driven by intellect and a deep sense of justice. What if episode 192 forces Aladdin into a role he's less comfortable with, perhaps a frontline command due to unforeseen circumstances, or a deeply personal conflict that challenges his ideals? Imagine if he uncovers crucial intelligence about a betrayal close to home. How would this compassionate, yet resolute, individual handle the weight of such knowledge? Would it harden him, making him more suspicious and perhaps more ruthless? Or will he seek a path that reconciles justice with mercy, even when it's incredibly difficult? We might see Aladdin wrestling with the human cost of state building in a very personal way. Could a specific event in episode 192, perhaps a direct confrontation with the new enemy's ideology or tactics, lead him to question the very nature of the conflict and refine his own vision for the future? What kind of event do you think could truly push Aladdin to a point of no return, fundamentally changing his outlook? Let me know your insights. Malhun Hatton and Bala Hatton, evolving pillars of strength. Our leading Hattons, Malhun and Bala, have always been more than just wives. They are leaders, strategists, and the emotional anchors of the K. Their transformations have often mirrored Osman's in terms of resilience, but they also bring their unique strengths. In episode 192, perhaps the threat level requires them to step into even more prominent leadership roles, maybe even defending the heart of the tribe while Osman and the Alps are engaged elsewhere. Could we see Malhun, with her political acumen, navigate a treacherous diplomatic situation that could save them from an unwinnable battle? Her transformation might involve an even greater assertion of her authority in the political arena. For Bala, whose strength is often rooted in her faith and her deep connection to the spiritual well-being of her people, episode 192 might bring a spiritual crisis or a test of her inner fortitude. What if the enemy's tactics are designed to break the morale and faith of the K? Bala's transformation could involve her finding new ways to inspire hope and resilience, perhaps even challenging her own understanding of her role. Do you foresee a situation where Malhun and Bala might have to make a difficult joint decision that significantly impacts the tribe's future, potentially transforming their own dynamic as well? The enemy within or without, a catalyst for change. No transformation happens in a vacuum. The antagonists in Kuruluş Osman are crucial catalysts. If episode 192 introduces a particularly insidious villain, or if a long-suspected traitor finally makes their move, the repercussions will ripple through every character. Could this new Byzantine commander Alexios, for instance, be someone who understands the KES strengths and weaknesses intimately, forcing our heroes to change their trusted methods? An enemy who attacks not just militarily but also culturally or economically could force Osman and his people to innovate and transform their very way of life and governance at an accelerated pace. And what about the internal threat? If a character we've known, perhaps even trusted, is revealed to be working against the K, the sense of betrayal could transform relationships and force everyone to become more guarded. This could lead to a darker, more paranoid atmosphere, forcing Osman and his inner circle to adapt their methods of ensuring loyalty. How do you think the revelation of a major traitor would specifically transform Osman Bay's approach to leadership and trust? The next generation, seeds of transformation. While Osman, Orhan, and Aladdin are central, let's not forget other characters like Fatma, or younger members of the tribe, or even new, ambitious Bays from allied tribes. Episode 192 might sow the seeds of their future transformations. A moment of bravery, a costly mistake, a personal loss, these are the events that shape young characters and set them on their future paths. Could we see a younger character unexpectedly step up and show potential that surprises everyone, hinting at a major role to come? Final thoughts and discussion prompts for episode 192. As we look towards episode 192, it's clear that the theme of transformation will be central. The pressures of building a state, defending it against relentless enemies, and managing internal complexities inevitably change people. Which character do you believe is on the cusp of the most significant transformation in episode 192 and why? What kind of event would you find most compelling to trigger these transformations? A military defeat? A personal betrayal? A moral dilemma? Beyond the main characters, is there a supporting character whose potential transformation you are particularly interested in seeing? The beauty of Kuruluş Osman lies in its ability to show us that history is made by individuals who are constantly evolving, adapting, and being shaped by the monumental events around them. Episode 192 is poised to be another chapter in this grand saga of change.